Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, I'm your wonderful host, Mr. Rant, and before you say anything, yes, my voice sounds croaky as anything and sounds utterly terrible. So if you do mission it through this episode, I really appreciate it. If you can't, I fully understand. I do have my Letterboxd review of Superman, so you can go check that out, which of course doesn't have the croaky side of my voice. Unfortunately, I've just come down with a cold this morning and I'm just like, oh shit. And I'm like, okay, well, the best I do is try to take tablets, water, so bear with me. So I do really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for coming back to watch and listen to every single episode, every single week. Now, if you haven't already, definitely go check out our last week's episode where we reviewed the brand new Jurassic World Rebirth by Gareth Edwards, which I must say, which the review might surprise a few people what it might be like, because damn, it's not what I expected it to be. Not to mention for what's meant to kick off this brand new trilogy of films this year between for the summer blockbusters, between Jurassic World, between Superman, and between Fantastic Four. It's a bit of a lull going into this, so it's a bit, yeah. I did my full review. I try not to cut too deep into it, but I kind of did. So please definitely go check that out. And we, as I mentioned, we are here to talk about the brand new Superman movie, which has been an utter massive journey and has got to get to this point. But ladies and gentlemen, ranters and rantettes, you know what comes up first. We get into the news and then we get into the reviews. So straight up. So kicking off this is that Rian Johnson recently got asked about his Star Wars trilogy that apparently was meant to be in the works, which, you know, this is drawing back to what I said a couple of weeks ago, where it feels like Star Wars has kind of been throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks ever since post Rise of Skywalker. You know, there's meant to be a trilogy over here, there's meant to be a movie over here. There is meant to be a movie here. Oh, that's been cancelled. That's been delayed. But, you know, we are getting the Mandalorian movie, which is a win. But we also are getting the Ryan Gosling Starfighter movie, which is really cool. But, you know, amongst the other things that have been announced, that's like 4th or 5th on the list. I was like, okay, wasn't expecting that. And we'll probably still get that because there's meant to be the Rey prequel. There was meant to be the First Order First Republic movie that was meant to be in the works. That's currently on limbo, and the Squadron movie with Peter Jenkins apparently is done, isn't done. It's all in limbo. And amongst all of that big of WTF was going on, was that after The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson was going to be directing a brand new Star Wars trilogy that was completely separate to the Skywalker. And what you do say about The Last Jedi, it's a very decisive Star Wars film. For me personally, I didn't like it. It has some really cool moments, but trust me when I say the fact that when you have a Star Wars film with lightsabers, and it's a movie with the first time when 2 lightsabers do not touch, it is quite disappointing. Like, yes, that ending scene is really cool, but at the same time, like, no, this didn't hit my mark, and it really did show you all the flaws that was going to come in this brand new sequel trilogy, which is really disappointing what we're going to get. And I know if you also go online, Rian Johnson does talk about what his plans were for the 3rd installment if he stayed on, what could have happened, and that's very interesting. How it would have flourished is another question entirely. But he has mentioned the fact apparently it was just basically a conversation where he said, you know, you did such a great job. If you want to continue on, you know, it'd be great if you had like an outline for a Star Wars trilogy. And apparently that was it. He said there was no outline, there was no treatment, there was no nothing. It was just the fact if you want to continue on, you have the opportunity. And he's been so caught up with Knives Out, which, you know, understandably why. Understandably why he's been caught up with that, because that's been a huge success, where The Last Jedi has been very decisive and still is to this date. But look, you know, I'm not really clamoring for this. So we go, oh no, we really missed out on the Ryan Johnson film. Oh my trilogy! Wow, we just lost. I'm like, no. After what you did, like I understand what you're doing, but at the same time, that's not how I expected that sequel to The Force Awakens to happen. And I say I'm ungrateful, but I'm like, yeah, like you set up all these things and it just doesn't hit the mark, especially with so many, Star Wars fans like us can be very, very, very vocal. Very much with what we'll talk about the fans later on. We'll get into Superman, of course, Snyder fans. Now, this is really interesting. I thought this was pretty cool. Apparently, it's reported that WB reached out and tried to get Kevin Feige to come across from Marvel to DC after the absolute lackluster that was the Joss Whedon Justice League movie that came out in 2017. Which I thought was interesting in the sense that, the fact that like that movie completely bombed and they realize, oh shit, what we're going to do. So they try and get Kevin Feige to fix everything. And it would have had to be, and obviously the paycheck or whatever the deal was not impressive enough for him to make the jump. I didn't think he would make the jump anyway. He wouldn't. He's too much of a Marvel fan. Marvel is in his blood. There's no way he would make that jump. But the fact that they, the DCEU is riddled with weird things, weird choices, plummet box offices, and this sounds like a great idea where it's not. We even did an episode not too long ago, actually probably about a year ago, where we talked about the missing DC sequels, and there was actually a lot. There's actually a lot in that. I didn't realize when I wrote out the entire episode, I was a bit like, okay, this is interesting. And then when I dug a little bit deeper, I was like, oh my God, there is so much that they've announced and it was meant to be coming, and then we never saw the light of day. Like, yes, Marvel has done the exact same thing, but Marvel's only done that, like, for the MCU, if we're just talking, only about 2 or 3 things. Where DC is currently like, about 15 films that they've announced and not going to see the light of day ever, or we're never going to ever see this ever. So it's very interesting. But I love the fact that they try to do a last-ditch effort and be like, oh, we'll try and get Kevin Feige to fix everything. Or you could just kept Snyder and just left him. Get him to come back and finish the project. But no, you just had to muck it all up, and that's what we get in the end. Look, this is probably a small thing. It's reported that Dune 3 is no longer going to be called Dune Messiah. It's now going to be called Dune Part 3. Which, in that sense, it makes sense because it's just called Dune Part 2, and Dune Part 3. And depending on what elements from the book they'll keep to moving forward. So I think this broadens the horizon a little bit more for them to be a little bit more creative with the story-wise, not restricting to themselves just a book. I know obviously naming the movie after the book doesn't mean they're restricted, but it gives them a little bit more freedom. Dune Part 3 now. Will be coming out the same week as Avengers Doomsday, December next year. So we will be in Doomsday for these 2 films. And Dune Dune 3 is shaping up to again have a big stellar cast, and how that's going to look, and that's going to be IMAX, which is going to be incredible. So take it as like a small little grain of salt. It's not a bad thing. That's not going to call Doom Messiah. It's called Doom Part 3 now. So it'd be interesting to see what elements they take from the book and what they won't take from the book. Also, in the past week, we have seen, and it's kind of sad that the season 5 of The Boys has wrapped up. Sorry, excuse me. It's done. It's dusted. After 8 years, I couldn't believe actually when I said 8 years, but it's all done. We will get The Boys season 5 next year to wrap it all up. But there is a lot coming in the Boys universe. We have Gen V season 2 that's coming up, and we also do have the brand new show coming up. Where are we? Ex-Pasha. To quote Dr. Mahan, Superman is the bridge stretching that will lead to peace. That's very true. He's the bridge. Yes, and trust me, he is all about peace, which we're going to talk about later on. Yes, again, so sorry about my voice for this episode, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so we have Gen V season 2 coming out this year. We have The Boys season 5, which is the final season next year, and we also have Vought Rising, which Jason Eccles will be returning as Soldier Boy for this, which is a boys prequel film that we will be seeing. At this pace, I would say if they're going filming, I would say maybe late next year or 2027, early 2027 at this point. Jason Eccles, the Soldier Boy, was one of the best highlights of the last season season before season 3 of The Boys. It was fantastic. It was awesome, and what he did, and not to mention his cameo in Gen V in season 1 was great as also. So he's definitely a highlight. He will be making his return as Soldier Boy in season 5 of The Boys, which is going to be absolutely mental and how that's going to shape up and look. I'm so excited, even though my voice doesn't allow me to say how excited I am, but we are going to be getting that. So yes, it's going to be incredible. But yeah, Vought Rising. Also, now look, not everything is safe. Not everything is safe in the movie world. A reboot that I really kind of wasn't expecting. When I look at the age, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Apparently, Disney is looking to reboot the Night Museum. The Night Museum was 3 films with a great cast led by Ben Stiller. The first movie was an absolute hit. The second did well, so did the third. just to wrap it all up, it was really great. But yeah, when I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, it's actually that old, and it's due. And there's no report now exactly how it's going to be shape up. Is it going to be another live action, or is it going to be animated type situation? Will Ben Stiller be returning? I'd be very surprised if he did. But there was just some type of perfect magic in the Night Museum, just because the cast, like Robin Williams, Owen Wilson, it just hit that mark really well. And the pure imagination of going to the museum was right there. The first one I always recommend. It's one of the best. It's best out of all 3. It's a great film. So it's interesting that they're going to reboot it again. Nothing is safe in the movie world. Nothing is off limits. Sorry, except for Back to the Future. Thank God. Now, speaking of Avengers Doomsday, that's coming around the corner, is that we recently did get. Now, this is going to spoiler territory. So if you don't want to know this part, which it's not really a spoiler. It's really like, okay, just confirming. So yeah, you've been warned. You've been fair warned. Is that on Twitter, someone had leaked a behind-the-scenes set photo, which we could see looks like it to be on the console of a spaceship, but on the spaceship we could see the fact it is Ramirez, Falcon Jr., if you will, and the Thing, and U.S. Agent Captain America. We got him as well, all 3 on this deck of this ship. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the photos to show you, but yes, that is seen. So it kind of is confirming the fact that we'll see these teams bridge together between both Captain America's team, both the New Avengers, and the Fantastic Four together. Which, to me, like, it did spoil a whole lot, but I'm looking at this go, I am so excited. I'm just excited to see that all these characters play in together. Going into Avengers Doomsday, especially Robert Downey Jr. Like, it's all the elements are there that Doomsday is going to be incredible, and it's definitely going to make its bang for buck. Unfortunately for all Doom fans, it will make more money. There is no doubt about this, because it feels like the last time we got an Avengers movie, which was Endgame, feels like it was a long time ago, very long time ago that we got Avengers Endgame. Will the Avengers Doomsday make the same money as Endgame? I doubt it, but I think it's going to make a very big pretty penny. The fact it's coming in December, school holidays, it's all there. And seeing the Fantastic Four in the Avengers film is going to be incredible as well. So it's just got all those elements. But yeah, the behind the scenes photos didn't really spoil anything. A little bit, not really. If you watched the end of the after credit scene of Thunderbolts, it really does tie in, but it's all there. But look, that's the biggest news that's happened in the past week. So it's been a little bit of a slow week, given everything. But let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about a movie that completely surprised me from the ground up. Something that I went in, which I would like to take a big thank you to Warner Brothers. Got the opportunity to go to an advanced screening for it in IMAX, which was incredible. Please definitely go check that out on Instagram. But trust me when I say this film is like this film has had such a long journey to get here. The amount of changes, the amount of Superman movies that have been pitched. So, really, the story of this film goes all the way back to Man of Steel 2. So, after Man of Steel, they were going to make a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. It's what was meant to happen. But after what happened with the lackluster Justice League, those plans got kind of got on hold, and Zack Snyder was meant to return. There was meant to be Brainiac. Like there was plans, there was storyboards, there was things that was going to do for this. But then that kind of fizzled out, and then different things got different ideas got thrown around. There was also going to be an African American Superman that was put on the table, and then after Snyder Justice League came out, that came out really positive, and it was really positive. So then things shifted again with Black Adam. They told Henry Cavill to come back, asked him to come back. Again, poor Henry Cavill, such a nice guy. He went on social media, said he was back. It was just a taste of what's to come. The whole thing of the hierarchy in the DCU is about to change. And they were going to move forward with Man of Steel 2. There was also going to be an idea of Man of Steel versus Black Adam that was put on the table as well. So there's so many things that was meant to happen. The director of Mission Impossible was going to be directing the film. Like there was things already in motion. And then there was the big shift with both James Gunn and Peter Safran becoming the new DC Studios co-CEOs moving forward. And there was already plans in place for Man of Steel, and then basically James Gunn's done a soft reboot on the entire universe, especially after with what happened with Black Adam, that was an absolute failure. And I'm pretty sure there was also stuff with The Rock being that should be about me. He also did make a comment the fact that they were not interested in moving forward with him, which is fair. You made Black Adam and it was bad and it underperformed. And you suck at playing a bad guy, a true bad guy, which Black Adam is. So and make it all about you. So it doesn't makes perfect sense of why James Gunn and Peter were like, now let's just do a soft reboot. So, which is really sad because Henry Cavill got caught it all up in that, and due to previous management, they told him to announce it. That he should have never announced it. It's a darn shame that that's the last appearance of Superman, of Henry Cavill as the character, which is it sucks. So then after all of that, after James Gunn came forward and said the fact we're going to be doing a soft reboot of the DC moving forward, and what he meant by soft reboot is that there are some characters that are going to be carried over into the brand new DCU. For example, like Peacemaker. There was a rumor with Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot, but that seems to be completely fizzled out. There was also an idea with Aquaman with Jason Momoa, but that's not moving forward anymore. He's now going to be playing Lobo in the brand new Supergirl film. So again, there's some guy, Amanda Waller, she's meant to be coming across as well, or she has. So some characters are, some characters are. So after all that, he announced himself pretty rude. So Gods and Monsters is the brand new phase that's moving forward into the new era of DC. So far, they mentioned about Batman. He mentioned about Supergirl, Superman, Teen Titans. Like there's a lot he did announce, but it's set in stone at the moment. It was the only thing that was set in stone was Superman and Supergirl, and now most recently, which I was not really expecting, was the Clayface R-rated Clayface movie that is going to be coming, and of course Peacemaker season 2 that was on the horizon as well. So that's where you get it now. So now with the whole soft reboot, it's funny because I'm talking like this, so like this is all that's transpired from all this. So after that, originally it was going to be called Superman Legacy, but James Gunn got rid of that, and it's now just called Superman, which is very much what's happened with the brand new Supergirl movie as well. It was meant to be Supergirl: The World of Tomorrow. Pretty sure it was World of Tomorrow, and he's just dropped out as well. It's just going to be Supergirl. So then the big question was, how's this new Superman going to look like? Who's going to be the new Superman? Where's it going to take place? Are we going to get a reboot? Which James Gunn said the fact that it's not going to be a reboot in a sense, the fact that we're not going to use origin again, which is one of the best parts of this film. And we are going to be going into spoilers territory. So one of the best things about this film is that it does not rehash the same story that we see in Man of Steel with the original Christopher Reeve Superman, things that we've seen all the time, like how he used powers, he crashed out his planet, his parents. We don't need to go in that. So basically, this is going basically into Superman year 3, essentially going into this. And a big mission that James Gunn wanted to do was that he was writing. At first, he was just writing it, and then it turned into he was directing it, which I'm glad he directed it. Was that he wanted to make a Superman film that was hopeful and was light, and the message of being human. Because, like, don't get me wrong, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel is fantastic. It does a great job on highlighting a different side of Superman, and that's where it will take place always. You will get the opportunity of different. That's what makes a character very interesting. Any comic book character is that different sides to the one character, different storylines that you do get, which is fantastic. Which is fantastic to see, and. It was really a bit hard because before Man of Steel, we did get Superman Returns, which underperformed and is rated one of the worst comic movies ever made, which is a darn shame. That didn't be received very well. And of course, before that was Superman 4, which was considered one of the worst Superman films. So a solid Superman film where he's lighthearted and all for the people and everything. was kind of missing. Was kind of missing. So we did need that. And for me, for James Gunn, I'm like, okay, I trust you. I trust you what you've done with Suicide Squad. I trust you what you've done with the Guardians. And the fact that he became the CEO moving forward in this series, I think that's fantastic. A hell of a job for him doing that. And then going to write this and direct the new Superman film as well. Oh, why not? You're a studio. Let's kick it. You want to direct what you want to direct? Go do it. So that was fantastic. So that's fantastic here. So then it went on with the hunt for, of course, who's your new Superman? Who's your new Lois Lane? Who's your new Jimmy Olsen? Who's your new Lex Luthor? And of course, it led to who is your Supergirl. And our new Superman is David Corenswit, which we did get. And, again, it was well received. He's type of character. He's building everything. Is that we do get to see we looked like he was going to be all right. And then we did get the still shot of him doing his boots, which was him the first time in the suit. That wasn't received very well. I was one of those people because I was like, this looks a bit tacky. That was just our first image. I was a bit like, this looks a bit tacky. I don't know how I like this, especially when the Henry Cavill suit is so clean cut and it looks fantastic. Again, it still looks fantastic. And this is probably something I didn't realize was the fact that we very much like the way James Gunn has described it is that if you don't like the suit, it's not the end of the world, because essentially this is this is Iron Man. I'm Mark 1 and 2, Mark 1 Mark 1 armor. And as the sequels have progressed, the suits got sleeker and sleeker again, and then we get Infinity War where the suit looks fantastic. So he did mention that if they do a sequel, is that he will be getting a new suit, which even the suit he does have still looks fantastic. It looks great, but it's interesting. It's good to know the fact that he will be getting a new suit in future. So if we want something a bit more clean cut, like Henry Cavill's version, we will be getting that. And of course, next up was Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. And Nicholas Hoult is one of those actors who doesn't really miss on the projects that he does, between X-Men, between The Menu. He does pick some really good projects, and I was very interested to see what he was going to do as Superman. It was interesting because he did mention the fact that he also tried to go for Superman and he lucked out, but they said to him, hey, do you want to try for Lex Luthor? And this film does a fantastic job in the sense of the fact that, it gives you a little bit of exposition at the start. Of course, we are going to spoilers territory. So yeah, so if you haven't already, definitely come back. We get that whole idea of the fact that this is the phase of Gods and Monsters. This is 3 years. This is 3 years that he has been Superman and been Clark Kent. And we get a fantastic shot at the beginning of this film, is that with this film, which I can't stress this enough, is that, because it doesn't have that backstory, we can just dive into this film. Technically, if you really want to break it down, Man of Steel is Superman. Here's a prequel. Here's the story. We're right into this. No, you know who Lex Luthor is. You know who the Fortress of Solitude, which is fantastic. The CGI in this film is great all the way through. It looks fantastic. There's a couple of moments that looks a little bit iffy, but I'm like, it is because of what you're a super guy, you're a Superman, and you got a machine. And you're like, yeah, of course they're gonna fit right. And if you are worried about this film being overstuffed, because we have Green Lantern, Hawkeye, Mr. not Mr. Fantastic, but we have all this cast. It does not feel overstuffed. Every single character feels like they get enough time moving forward with the story, and they pop in at the right time. It doesn't feel overstuffed. This film does go for 129 minutes. It does have a current box office of 96 million. Its budget was 225 million, which of course is going to be because of the all the CGI in this film. Mr. Terrific, that's what I was trying to say. Mr. Terrific in that film is that everyone gets their just desserts. Even when we go to the Daily Planet with Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, we get a good background of them as well, and we get a good screen time. And one of the characters in this film, which Metamorphio, which we do get, which I'll go into a little bit later, he was a standout. His costume, his story was great. So how this all kicks off is the fact that he's been Superman for 3 years, and then we get to find out the fact that he, in the first 3 years, he's just lost his first fight to this basically this hero of this foreign country, because they're about to go to war. Because the fact that Superman intervened with this country trying to take over this other country because they're defenseless. And it's interesting because it's one of those things that, which is in the comics, it plays all the time. Should Superman do anything? Does he have the right? Does it make you above the law? How does that go into, or how you can't stand it? And there's a really great scene where he's talking to Lois Lane, basically pretending to be interviewed by Lois Lane as Superman, and he loses his cool, and you feel for him. You really do feel for him, because it's like, well, you're right, because he's like, which we've seen it come online. He's like, I was trying to do the right thing. It's wrong, and if I didn't do anything, people were going to die. And he really expresses that. And then Lois Lane basically brings it back to earth, no pun intended. That she's trying to play the devil's advocate in that scene of like, well, you're not above the law. What you did was wrong. And they've already been dating, so don't worry. That's a great thing as well. They've already been dating. We get a little bit more Jimmy Olsen as well, which is great, because unlike Batman v Superman, where he dies, I think straight away in the first I think the first 10 or 20, 15 minutes, Jimmy Olsen dies in Batman v Superman, so it's very quick. So we get a Superman who is flawed and who's hopeful at the same time. We also here we go. The movie should have been a Saturday morning cartoon. It sucked. By Thunderwolf on YouTube. Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad. If you want to talk bad, Jurassic World Rebirth was horrible. That is a terrible, terrible film. Superman was a lot better than that. Superman, this film was a fun ride. It's very comic book accurate. And yes, it does have vibes of a Saturday morning cartoon. But yeah, we needed this like fresh type of different point of view after the Henry Cavill Superman. Don't get me wrong, like I'm right there with Snyder fans. It's like Henry Cavill should have got Man of Steel 1, 2, and 3. He should have got a whole epic trilogy, even a quad trilogy. 1, 2, 3, and 4. He should have got that. It's an absolute crime and one of the biggest missed opportunities that he did not get. He's full just as the character. You know, he played Man of Steel, and then Batman v Superman, where he played a dark Superman again, because of the world. He goes plays Justice League, which that movie is shit, and Snyder Cut, which was fantastic, and has a little cameo at the end. And he was meant to have a cameo in Shazam, which didn't work out as well. So it's just I feel bad for him. I feel like you just got to leave Man of Steel and the Snyder Cut, and that's it. Just leave it like that. But because we were going into this, Lex Luthor is obsessed with Superman. We see Nicholas Hoult does a fantastic job of a character of a Lex Luthor that's obsessed with this, because of the fact that everyone's talking about Superman, how great Superman is, what he does, and Lex Luthor's like, well, I do great things. Why am I not praised? I'm the smartest man on the planet, but everyone's like, wow, look at Superman. He really has that mentality that we do get. But we get a Superman. Sorry. We get a Superman who's perfectly flawed. We see the humanity in him, and really it shows the man in Superman. And it does a great job. Bradley Cooper as Superman's parents. I was not expecting that at all. Where we get the fact that he half his message is for his parents, which we've seen in the past. Go to Earth, be a beacon of hope. But then thanks to Lex Luthor and the engineer, which she's really good and dangerous all at the same time, is that the full message is that apparently calling humans dumb, stupid, and rule with them with an iron fist, which to me, I thought this was going to be a doctored thing, and Lex Luthor was just doing this together against him. But no, it was actually the rest of the message, which is insane. So again, it goes back to shifting Superman being hopeful to, is he here to rule us? Which goes in line with, with Batman v Superman. Is that why is he here? And you're like, honestly, you feel for him, because he's like, that's not why I'm here. It's not my mission. He's like, I just want to be a good person. I want to be a good man. Like, they're fighting this massive alien dragon thing. And, he wants to study it, take it somewhere, which, we do know he does in the Force of Solitude. But, the Green Lantern, or the Justice Gang, not the League, the Justice Gang, basically kill it to save the day. But then we get a Superman who saves a puppy from getting crushed, saves a girl getting crushed, saves a squirrel. He's doing the right thing. He is being the Boy Scout Superman, and that's what. And I know a lot of people might like this, but that's what Superman is. And to prove that point is that that's what creates the perfect contrast for Lex Luthor against Superman and Batman. That's, you have the light of the DC, and you have the darkness. So when you have Superman meet Batman and their interaction, that's what just creates it so interesting, because you have two sides of the same coin, justice and how they deliver it, and the different tactics they do it. There's a really great scene, I always think about this, in one of the animated movies. I think it's called Justice League Doomsday, or it's one of the Justice League films, where Batman's saying the fact that he needs to go fight Superman, and he's like, deep down Clark is a good person, and Batman turns around and goes, but deep down I'm not, as he puts on brass knuckles that have like kryptonite on it. So I was like, damn, son. I'm like, damn, like that's the truth of it. That's Batman won't kill, but he will go in that dark place to get it done. Not kill him, break every single bone in the body, but he'll do it to get it done. So you do feel that through Superman. And I was watching this film, and I'm so hopeful watching this. I know a lot of people may not like it, which I can't fathom why, except for the fact they want Man of Steel 2. But this film never feels like it goes for too long. We meet these characters, we get a pocket universe showing how smart Lex Luthor is, which we get to meet Metamorph for the first time. His entire outfit, he's looks fantastic. It looks great. The fact that he uses kryptonite to get him down and beat him, so the fact that he gets stay in this cage. Mr. DJ Fly High, thanks for passing the YouTube, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being passed. And as you probably can hear, my voice is utterly terrible right now, which is great. So this is where we meet him. And it's interesting, we see these heroes. We see Metamorph that has all these weird abilities, which is great. And that's the thing that James Gunn does really well. You have a character that barely anyone's heard of. It's a C grade or a D grade character. Can bring them to the big screen, show you the unique ability of their abilities, and is one of the highlights of that film. Straight up. Does fantastic. Mr. DJ Flyer, this movie is splitting a lot of people. It is splitting a lot of people, but I'm here to tell you, as Mr. Rant with a croaky voice, that this is a fantastic effing fucking film. Straight up. Don't give me this bullshit. It's bad or lingering. No. Honestly, and if you have seen my letterbox, I gave this 4.5 stars. It is great. And what really probably pushed me to give it more stars is that I saw Jurassic World Rebirth only 3 days before this film, and I was really disappointed there. Like, I knew this film, I was anticipating being James Gunn, the cast, that it was going to be a pun intended, by the way. Yeah, I know, pun intended. I knew this film was going to be good, but for a film to kick off the brand new DC with James Gunn, boom. It is absolutely hits the nail on the coffin. It does a great job. And the unsung hero in the entire film is Crypto. He is the hero of this film. He is 100%. Every time he's on screen, what he does, what you feel for him, especially I'm a dog guy myself. It's great. There's a scene even at the end where Superman's hugging Crypto on the moon. I'm just like, that's fucking great. That is awesome. Especially after the journey they go through. The action is high in this film. We do actually get a cameo as well of Amelia Alcock of Supergirl. That was what I was not expecting. She does make a very brief appearance in this. But yes, this does kind of sometimes have, it does also where we do get the whole idea of cloning Superman idea, which was a great twist to the film, which I wasn't expecting, which I thought was cool. But, you feel for Superman and Clark being from Smallville. His parents has a great scene with him. We get to see Superman with the fact that he's Fortress of Solitude, how he gets his powers with the sun, his robots, everything. Like, it's just, you really are just, here's the world, Superman. Let's get right into it. Dropped in. Let's go. And as soon as this film finished, I'm like, I want to see a sequel. Like, this was a film like, I want to see a sequel tomorrow. Like, this is how good this is. Like, you'll be absolutely immersed in this film, and it will give you that hope and belief on Superman, which is what the character is meant to do. And there's even like a great scene where a couple of kids are raising up a Superman flag, and you feel for it. This film doesn't redefine the superhero genre. It doesn't. It's not the best comic book movie ever made, but it is one of the best Superman movies, period. Right there. Soundtrack is fantastic. It all hits all the beats that you need to, everything that you want in a film. I wasn't collaborating the fact that we needed Crypto in the film. Crypto, hell yeah. Hell yes. We also get a cameo of Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord, which we'll see him in Peacemaker. Also, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern was great. He plays a perfect dick. He does such a good job. Hawk Girl, she does a good job, but she does make this. I must admit, it was weird to see where she makes this face. It's like really weird as she's going to attack, and I'm like, all right, that's probably the thing. I was like, all right, weird face that you're doing for this scene. And of course, we get Frank Grillo as Rick Flag for this, which we have seen him. He is Peacemaker. He didn't have his white hair for this one, but he will be in Peacemaker season 2. Obviously, he is the father of Rick Flag that did die in Suicide Squad 2. So that's there. Again, it's a little part. It's a little part that we did get crossing over. Mr. Terrific is fantastic with his abilities, really showcasing what they can do. James Gunn's also said the fact that there's also talks for a Jimmy Olsen spinoff, who basically is a ladies' man in this. And no one really knows why he's a ladies' man, but he is a ladies' man. And also Mr. Terrific TV spinoff series as well. So that's gonna be interesting. Probably the Jimmy Olsen show, I probably don't need to know, but Mr. Terrific, I'm kind of curious on how they would break down that show moving forward. But overall, you will have a good time in this. You will have a really good time. It makes you hopeful and believe, I believe in Superman. And I can't wait for a sequel. That's the type of lasting imprint that you will have with this film. And trust me when I say it is well worth your price of admission to go see this. So please go to theaters, go to IMAX, see this film. It is a great for comic book fans, DC fans. You'll love it. Even take your kids to it. Your kids will. If I had kids, I'd be taking them to see this. It is really hopeful. And again, thank you so much for WB for sending me for inviting me to the premiere. It was fantastic. It was great, and I'm still picturing myself the fact that I've been to both the Superman and DC premiere this year. Like, oh my god, I can't even believe that. I'm still picturing myself. But look, that is my review for Superman. Let me know what you want in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like about it? Who do you want to see the sequel? For me, there's a plethora that they could do, but definitely not. I would like Lex Luthor to be more in the background. Sketchy. Thanks for coming past on the Twitch. Appreciate it. What I would like to see in a sequel is I know people are clamoring for Brainiac, but I feel like Brainiac is one of those villains. He's like a third movie type of villain. If you do want, David is also contracted for a sequel to this, so don't you worry. But I feel like Brainiac's more of a third villain. It's something like you drop in the second film that he's coming going forward. And for Lex Luthor, I would like him to be working in the background of this film, not to be the main vocal point of the villain for the film. We don't need to do that. Thank you for following on the Twitch, man. Really appreciate it. What's going to be happening going next is I'm trying to think Lobo would be a great villain, but of course he's with Supergirl. So I'm just trying to think. Metallo. Metallo would be a great villain. Again, that might be more in line to what we saw here. Bizarro, well, that's a little bit more in line than what we got here as well. Just trying to think. Because Superman has such a big rose gallery that people don't really realize that. Mongol, Darkseid's a third film. He's like, how is that even a thing? I literally typed in Superman villains, and we've got Darkseid, we've got Brainiac, we've got Doomsday. Ooh, yeah. Doomsday would be good. Toyman could fit in this universe without a shadow of a doubt. That would be really cool. There's also another villain here that starts with first name A, Second name starts with H, which I'm so surprised that he's in this. Gerald Zod would be good. Metallo, I feel like could be really cool going into this. I would, 100% would like to see Metallo. Toyman could be really weird going into this, but Lobo, Parasite, Mongol's really good. So there's a lot they can pick from. Again, if James Gunn does direct it and write it, I would like to see someone we haven't seen on screen for him to go into this, to really highlight them. Like, don't do the same villain again. Essentially, like, oh, we'll do the Joker again. But yeah, for a third film, Brainiac, bring on Brainiac. I would love to see that under James Gunn's vision. Where we're going to see that, how it's going to look with Justice League. It hasn't been announced, but it's reported in the works. So that's on the table as well. But, look, thank you so much for everyone coming past for this episode. I'm so sorry my voice sounds terrible, but I appreciate every single one of you for coming out. And again, let me know what you think about. Sue me in the comments. Let's chat. Let's rant. Let's talk about the Discord. And as always, until next time, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.